So we were discussing about the meaning of demand. Okay, so meaning of demand is that you should have the ability to buy a product, willingness to buy a product, and you should have a necessary purchasing power also to buy the product. So just having an interest, or if you want to buy, if you think that one alone will not constitute demand. So you should have willingness to buy a product, you should have the ability to buy the product, you should have the purchasing power also to buy the product. So your income or the whatever the cash or you have it in your hand, you so should support to buy that product, then that only can be considered as a demand. Okay, so this all we discussed. So that definition has been given here, meaning and definition. Then we discussed about the types of demand in last class, and then factors or the determinants of demand. That is also an important question only. Okay, so now moving to the law of demand. So law of demand, what actually it tells about is that price and demand is always having an inverse relationship. So you're going to speak about the relationship between price and quantity demand. Okay, so if you see, this is a normal general thing that everyone knows. Whenever the price starts to rise, people start consuming only less number of products, they will buy only few products. Okay, whatever they bought it more, they will try to reduce their consumption level. This all we know. Okay, so whenever the price of onion or something, tomatoes or something, if it is going, I know, we start to reduce whatever we bought for 1 kg, or we will try to reduce it to half kg or something like that. So this is the usual thing that we know. So law of demand, it's going to state that there is an inverse relationship between the price and quantity demanded. So whenever price falls, demand will get raised. Whenever price rises, demand will fall. Okay, so price falls, demand will rise. Price, if it is rising, means then demand will fall. Okay, so vice versa. Okay, so that's what we are saying. It has got some inverse relationship. Here, a law of demand, usually in economics, if you see other things remaining constant, other things remaining fixed, like this terminology, you'll be coming across lot of times. So other things means other factors. So what do you mean by other things means other factors? So we discussed a lot of factors, right? Price, apart from price of the commodity, we were discussing about the income of the consumers, taste and preference of the consumers, then what they expect, customer expectation, tax rate, and many things we considered for demand rise or fall, that is factors determining demand. So apart from price, other things are going to be here constant. So that's what law of demand it states. So law of demand states that other things remaining constant, other things remaining equal. So there is no rise or fall. Due to that, there is no impact. அந்த மாதிரி வந்துட்டு other things remaining constant na, other factors are kept constant, only you are going to consider price மட்டும் ஒரே factor we are going to consider, and you are going to what changes is happening with respect to the quantity demand. So that's what we are going to discuss in law of demand. I think it will be clear to all. So what is meant by law of demand? Okay, so you have to tell about the relationship between price and quantity demanded. So they have got the inverse relationship. So if one is rising, other will fall. One is falling, other will rise. Okay, automatically. Apart from that, you are going to explain what is meant by law of demand there. Okay. And moving to the next one, demand schedule and demand curve. Okay, so demand schedule, based upon demand schedule, it is actually a table which is going to represent the price and quantity demanded. It can be any product. Okay, so it can be any product, a vegetable or a coffee or tea or whatever might be. So if the price is if you see here, if the prices starts to fall, and automatically the quantity demanded is getting raised in units. Okay, so it is going to get raised. So it is a table that is going to represent your demand schedule. So what is meant by demand schedule means demand schedule is a table which is going to represent your price and quantity demanded for any kind of commodity, for any kind of product. Okay, so whenever if you're in economics, you have to if you are drawing a table means you just explain, you can just explain in a simple sentences about each and everything. So how it's rising, how it is falling, like that you can explain, you can narrate yourself and give it as a paragraph at the below the table. Okay, so you can explain if price of a certain item, onion or something, any item you can take. So if price of that particular product is rupees 5, and the quantity demanded will be quantity demanded will be 2 units, like that. So if the price is falling to 4, then the quantity demanded is going to raise from 2 to 3, it's going to raise. And when the further fall in the price, 2 3 rupees or 2 rupees or 1 rupees, the quantity demanded will correspondingly raise. So it will raise to 4 units, 6 units and 10 units. You can explain like that in that way. Okay, so based upon this demand schedule, this table only, next we are going to give a demand curve. Okay, so like this, you will be having a demand curve. So on the x-axis and y-axis, you will be showing it up like this. Okay, so let me go to the next slide and show you. So the see, take for example, if you are this is a demand schedule. Okay, it is a table which is going to represent your price and quantity demanded. So price you have listed down here and quantity demanded, how it's raising. So you have to draw like this a chart. Quantity demanded, if you can take it on the x-axis and price on the y-axis. So you have as you know how to plot in a graph like that. So if there is 5 rupees means the quantity demanded will be 4, and if the price falls to 4 rupees, then quantity demanded is 8 rupees. See there, so here there is an increase in demand whenever price is going to fall. Here we have here in this graph it is shown. See, price if it is falling, then quantity demanded is going to increase. Okay, so this is the graph it going to represent. So you will be plotting like this. Okay, so demand curve. So you will be plotting and finding out how it is going to increase or decrease whenever price is falling. Further 4 rupees lande 3 rupees if it is falling means again 8 rupees lande 12 rupees your quantity demanded, sorry, 8 units lande 12 units quantity demanded வந்து increase ஆகுது. And further 3 rupees lande 2 rupees fall ஆகும்போது 12 lande 16 ஆக increase ஆகுது in units. Okay, so quantity demanded is in numbers or in units only. Price ன்றது in rupees ல. So எப்படி வந்துட்டு நம்ம denote பண்ணுவோம்னா price ன்றது obviously rupees ல, quantity demanded it can be thousands, tons or units like that. Okay, so when further fall 2 rupees landa 1 rupee if it is falling means 16 landa 20 quantity demanded is going to get raised here. Okay, so this is your demand curve. Okay, so how it is going to shift அப்படின்றது தான் we are seeing here, how it is going to expand, expansion of demand, contraction of demand. When will expand, when demand will expand, whenever price fall ஆகும்போது demand will start to expand. Expansion of shift in demand curve ன்னு சொல்லுவோம். So எப்ப shift ஆகும் demand curve? So whenever வந்து expansion, contraction ரெண்டு இது இருக்கு. So expansion எப்ப ஆகும்? Price வந்துட்டு fall ஆகும்போது quantity demanded will start to increase. When it will contract, so contraction of demand, when it will take place, whenever the price is going to raise, you will start consuming only less. எவ்வளோக்கு வாங்குனீங்களோ முதல்ல அந்த குவான்டிட்டியே வந்து ரெடியூஸ் பண்ணிப்பீங்க. உங்களோட கன்சம்ஷன் லெவல் இட் வில் கெட் ரெடியூஸ்ட். That is what contraction of demand. Okay, so shift in demand curve. So this is our demand schedule. So what is meant by demand schedule? It is a table which is going to represent your price and quantity demanded. Okay, so you can under the table you can explain what is how it is falling, how the quantity demanded is simultaneously raising. That all you can explain under the table, and you can show the graph demand curve. You can show that. So what do you mean by demand curve? If they ask, it is a graphical representation or representation of the demand schedule. Okay, it's going to explain the price and quantity demanded, their relationship. It is going to represent through graphical. through graph it is going to represent. So how it is changing, that also you can tell here. Okay, so this is the demand schedule and demand curve. So far we discussed about what is meant by demand, law of demand, and then demand schedule and demand curve. Okay, so next moving to the most important part of second unit, elasticity of demand. So elasticity means here no actually three types are there. So actually price let me show that one. So if you see price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, and cross elasticity of demand, three types are there. Okay, so first of all we must know what is meant by elasticity. Elasticity means changes. ஒரு ஃபேக்டர்னால இன்னொரு வேரியபிள் எப்படி வந்துட்டு சேஞ்ச் ஆகுது அப்படின்றது தான் வந்துட்டு எலாஸ்டிசிட்டி. ஸோ ஒரு ப்ரொபோர்ஷனேட் சேஞ்ச்னால அதோட இம்பாக்ட் என்ன அப்படின்றது தான் எலாஸ்டிசிட்டில வி ஆர் கோயிங் டு லுக் அவுட். ஓகே, ஸோ இன் தட் பிரைஸ் எலாஸ்டிசிட்டி, இன்கம் எலாஸ்டிசிட்டி, அண்ட் தென் கிராஸ் எலாஸ்டிசிட்டி வி ஹேவ். Price elasticity, if you say, again law of demand la சொல்ற மாதிரி other things remaining constant, other factors constant வச்சுட்டு income பத்தியோ எதுவுமே we are not going to consider here. So income ரைஸ் ஆகுதா ஃபால் ஆகுதா, அதனால டிமாண்ட் சேஞ்ச் ஆகுதா, இல்ல டேஸ்ட் அண்ட் ப்ரிஃபரன்ஸ், அது எல்லாத்தையும் கான்ஸ்டன்டா வச்சுக்கிட்டு வெறும் பிரைஸ் மட்டும் தான் we are going to consider there. Okay, so that is price elasticity of demand. Income elasticity of demand na again other things கான்ஸ்டன்டா வச்சுட்டு only you are going to consider income of the consumer. Income of the consumer ரைஸ் ஆகும்போது demand எப்படி இருக்கு, ஃபால் ஆகும்போது how the demand is there. Okay, so that is income elasticity. Cross elasticity of demand ன்றது, so as we discussed yesterday, complementary goods substitute goods இருக்கும்போது அதோட இம்பாக்ட் ஒன்னு பிரைஸ் ரைஸ் ஆகும்போது அதோட இம்பாக்ட் டிமாண்ட்ல என்ன ஆகும் அப்படின்றது தான் cross elasticity. So basically elasticity அப்படின்றது வந்துட்டு it refers to the degree of correlation between price and demand. So rate at which quantity demanded varies with the change in price. So for every change in price, what is the impact on the demand? What is the impact on the quantity demanded? So either it is falling or it is raising. So price raise ஆகும்போது demand fall ஆகுதா? What it's happening actually? So that represents the elasticity. Elasticity means whatever the how it's going to respond, how the quantity demanded is going to respond to the for a change in price. So that is the elasticity actually is about. Okay, so elasticity means change that is taking place due to a change in price. What is the impact on the demand actually? So that is known as elasticity. So elasticity of demand, that definition. Okay, so you have to write the person's name, Joan Robinson, all those things. So whenever economics definition, giving a general definition is okay, but whenever a person has quoted something, no, you have to write that author's name also. Okay, try to write out the author's name and then give the definition. Adam Smith or Marshall, many person economists are there. So whenever if you are going to write a definition or a particular concept, if it is given by some person, no, or particular theory if it is given by some person, better try to write out who has given that one. Okay, so that will be good for while writing your exams. So elasticity of demand, what is meant by that definition? So elasticity of demand at any price or at any output is the proportionate change of amount purchased in response to a small change in price divided by the proportional change of price. So here other things remaining constant. So other prices of related goods, consumers income, everything you are going to keep it as constant, and only one variable, one factor you are going to take it out. And one factor la ஏற்படக்கூடிய changesனால டிமாண்ட்ல அல்டிமேட்டா என்ன சேஞ்ச் ஏற்படுது, என்ன மாறுபாடுகள் ஏற்படுது அப்படின்றத தான் வந்துட்டு we are discussing in elasticity of demand. Proportionate ஒரு ஈக்குவலி வித்தியாசங்கள் ஏற்படுறதுக்கான proportionate change தான் ஈக்குவலி எந்த அளவுக்கு 10% பிரைஸ் ஃபால் ஆகுதுன்னா 10% டிமாண்ட் ரைஸ் ஆகுதா, இல்ல 10% விட 20% டிமாண்ட் அதிகரிக்குதா பிரைஸ் 10% ஃபால் ஆகும்போது. லைக் திஸ் யூ ஆர் கோயிங் டு ஃபைண்ட் அவுட் தி சேஞ்சஸ் இன் குவான்டிட்டி டிமாண்டட் டியூ டு சேஞ்சஸ் இன் பிரைஸ். Okay, so that is known as elasticity of demand. So as we discussed, price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, and then cross elasticity of demand. So these are the three types of elasticity of demand. So under everything, you will be having certain points. Okay, so price elasticity means under that you have 4 to 5 subheadings under that. So again, income elasticity also you will be having. Okay, so price elasticity means again what we discussed earlier only. So price elasticity means only price you are going to consider, not the other factors. Okay, so other factors are price of related goods, substitute goods நாலயா இல்ல காம்ப்ளிமெண்டரி குட்ஸோட எஃபெக்டா அந்த மாதிரி எந்த விஷயங்களும் டேஸ்ட் அண்ட் ப்ரிஃபரன்ஸா எதுவுமே கன்சிடர் பண்ண போறதில்ல. பிரைஸ் எலாஸ்டிசிட்டி ஆஃப் டிமாண்ட்ல பிரைஸ் சேஞ்ச் ஆகிறதுனால குவான்டிட்டி டிமாண்டட் வாட் இஸ் இட்ஸ் இம்பாக்ட், to what level it is falling or it is raising அப்படின்றத மட்டும் தான் we are going to discuss in price elasticity of demand. So elastic demand is the one when the response of demand is greater with a small proportionate change in price. So ஒரு small change in priceனால எந்த அளவுக்கு வந்துட்டு demand வந்து raise ஆகுது, response of demand is greater with a small proportionate. So ஒரு 10% சேஞ்ச் ஆகுது பிரைஸ்னா 10% ஃபால் ஆகுது. ஸோ ஒரு 10 ருபீஸ் இருக்கக்கூடியது ஒரு 9 ருபீஸ் ஆகோ இல்ல 8 ருபீஸ் ஆகோ பிரைஸ் வந்து இறங்கும் போது, ஸோ குவான்டிட்டி டிமாண்டட் ப்ரீவியஸ்லி ஐ வுட் ஹவ் டிமாண்டட் 10 யூனிட்ஸ் ஆர் 20 யூனிட்ஸ். Now it will get raised to 40 or 50 units like that. Okay, so for a small change in price, for a small proportionate change in price, there will be greater change in the demand. So that is known as elastic demand. Small change in price, greater change in demand, quantity demanded. On the other hand, inelastic demand is the one when there is relatively less change in demand with a greater change in price. So price changes, greater change மாறுபாடுகள் இருக்கும் பிரைஸ்ல, பட் இருந்தாலும் வந்துட்டு ரொம்ப லெஸ் ப்ரொபோர்ஷனேட்ல தான் வந்துட்டு குவான்டிட்டி டிமாண்டட் will be very less only. Okay, so whatever be the greater change in price, so the quantity demanded will be less only. Okay, so sometimes if the product doesn't move in the market well or something like that, demands are very low means sometimes they tend to reduce the price of the product, and ultimately people if they don't have mentality of buying that product or something like that, not essential or something like that, if it is not essential or required, then there will be only less change in the demand. Whatever you make try to influence the people also, they may not have the choice, or they may not try buy that product. They will be demanding only less in the market. So price elasticity under that elastic demand, inelastic demand. Elastic demand na ஒரு small change in price, ஒரு சின்ன changes ஏற்பட்டு இருந்தாலும் குவான்டிட்டி டிமாண்டட் ரொம்ப அதிகமாவே வந்துட்டு அதிகமாவே ரைஸ் ஆகிறதுக்கு வாய்ப்பு இருக்கு. ஓகே, ஸோ கொஞ்சம் விலை ஏதாவது ஒரு காஸ்ட்லியா ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட் இருக்கும்போது கொஞ்சம் ரெடியூஸ் பண்ணும்போது நம்ம வந்து வாங்கி அக்யூமுலேட் பண்ணிக்கலாம் இல்ல வாங்கலாம் அப்படின்ற மாதிரி நிறைய குவான்டிட்டி வி ஸ்டார்ட் டு டிமாண்ட். ஸோ இன்எலாஸ்டிக் டிமாண்ட் இஸ் தட் whatever be the change in price, greater change in price ஏற்பட்டிருந்தாலும் we may not demand, only less change will be there in the quantity demanded. So price elasticity of demand, you have to give the, so if they ask you elasticity of demand in 15 mark question like that, first you have to write what is meant by elasticity. As you know, that introduction, basic things, all those are required. So you must write what is meant by elasticity of demand, and then what are the various types. Okay, and then if they ask with specific to price elasticity of demand, if they ask you in common means, you have to write all the thing, price, income, cross, everything you have to cover up. Whereas if they ask only the price elasticity of demand, you should go in depth only to the price elasticity of demand, and you try to avoid that other aspects. Okay, you don't go in deep of the other aspects. Okay, so you can just list on, or just you can leave it out. price elasticity of demand, but you should give it in depth. Okay, so accordingly you have to answer the questions. So questions keta madri we have to write down our answers. So concepts if we clear you can write. Okay, so price elasticity of demand, under that we have these types. Okay, perfectly elastic demand, perfectly inelastic demand, relatively elastic demand, relatively inelastic demand, unitary elastic demand. Okay, so all these, no, you'll be having a graph, explanation, and then a graph. Okay. So moving to the first one, perfectly elastic demand. So what it is actually saying, when a small change in price of a product causes a major change in demand, it is said to be perfectly elastic demand. So ஒரு small change in price ஏற்படும் போது quantity demanded வந்து அது major impact அதுல இருந்ததுன்னா, then it is known as perfectly elastic demand. In perfectly elastic demand, a small rise in price will result in fall in demand to zero, while a small fall in price causes increase in demand to infinity. Okay, so ரொம்ப extreme level மாதிரி. Okay, ஒரு small change in priceனால எந்த அளவுக்கு வந்துட்டு quantity demandedல major change ஏற்படுது அப்படின்றத தான் வந்து perfectly elastic demandல we are representing. Okay, so if there is small rise, ஒரு small rise in price ஏற்படுது, 5 rupees இருக்கிறது 6 rupees, if it is going to get changed means demand will fall to zero. Whatever they demanded 10 units, if they have demanded means that 10 units also it will go off. And similarly, if the price is raising furthermore means it will also lead to infinity. So more than negative madri, less than that, less than zero or the less than zero to the infinity level also. So that is known as perfectly elastic demand. Perfectly elastic demand, what it speaks about? So when there is a small change in price will cause a major change. So it will create a large impact on the quantity demanded. So ஒரு simple ஒரு small rise in price ஏற்படும் போது quantity demanded will come to zero, and further if it is going still more, if it is going to rise, price rise ஆகும்போது it will also lead to infinity. So that is known as perfectly elastic demand. Okay, so this is the diagram for that. So E is equal to infinity. You can also write in within the brackets perfectly elastic demand. For that you can write in brackets E is equal to infinity. Okay. So next is your perfectly inelastic demand. So perfectly inelastic demand is one where there is no change in the demand for a product with a change in price. Whatever you raise your price of your product, the quantity demanded will not rise. It will remain equal. It will not change. It doesn't create a major impact. But perfectly elastic demand la vandute, it creates a major impact on quantity demanded. Small change ஏற்பட்டாலே major impact quantity demandedல ஏற்படும். But perfectly inelastic demand, if you see, even when there is even when there is a change in price also, whatever might be, your quantity demanded will not have a major impact. It will not cause any changes. No changes is produced in the demand for the product. So E is equal to 0. It is represented as perfectly inelastic demand is represented as E is equal to 0. And this is the diagram. Whatever rise in the price, constantly the demand will be the same. Same, it will not change. Okay, so this is the perfectly inelastic demand. So what is the difference between perfectly elastic? Small change in price இருந்தாலும் major impact on demand இருக்கும். ஒரு ரைஸ் இருந்தாலும் priceல demand will come to zero or even come to infinity. But perfectly inelastic demand is that whatever might be the change in price, 5 rupees இருந்தாலும் சரி, இல்ல வந்து price வந்து fall ஆகி 4 rupees இருந்தாலும் சரி, 3 rupees இருந்தாலும் கண்டிப்பா quantity demanded வந்து it will not create any major impact there. No changes will be produced in the quantity demanded, and it is represented by E is equal to 0. So this is the second price elasticity under that second one. And next moving to relatively elastic demand. So relatively elastic demand, it refers to the demand when the proportionate change produced in demand is greater than proportionate change in price of a product. Price வந்து 10 rupeesக்கு ரைஸ் ஆயிருக்கு அப்படின்னா so 10% ரைஸ் ஆயிருக்கு. That means quantity demanded வந்து அதை விட 20% வந்து ரைஸ் ஆகுதுன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன். So then it is known as relatively elastic demand. So relatively elastic demand is that so 10% price ரைஸ் ஆகுது அப்படின்னா so quantity demanded வந்து 20% ரைஸ் வந்து price வந்து suppose price is falling to price is falling to 10% இறங்கி இருக்குன்னா quantity demanded வந்துட்டு 20% increase ஆகுது அப்படின்ற மாதிரி தான் இதை எடுத்துக்கணும். So relatively elastic demand refers to the demand when the proportionate change produced in demand is greater than proportionate change in price of a product. So 10 rupees 10% fall ஆகுது priceனா 20% demand ரைஸ் ஆகுது. இல்ல வந்து 10% ரைஸ் ஆகுதுன்னா குவான்டிட்டி டிமாண்டட் அதுக்கேத்த மாதிரி வந்து இட்ஸ் கமிங் டவுன். So the numerical value of relatively elastic demand ranges between 1 to infinity. So mathematically it is expressed as E is greater than 1. Okay. So E elasticity of demand is greater than 1. So if a price is falling means அதுக்கு ஈக்குவலாக இல்லாம இன்னும் அதிகமாக குவான்டிட்டி வந்துட்டு if it is going to rise then it is known as relatively elastic demand. So this is the graph for that. So for every subtopic you have to write out the explanation and what is the actual and the equation and the E is greater than and the E is equal to infinity, E is equal to 0, greater than 1. You have to give that one, and then graph is required. What is actually it is telling about also you have to quote that one also. Okay. So relatively elastic demand, it says that so if 10% if it is falling, price is falling means 20% quantity demanded அதிகரிக்கிறது. Okay. So more than proportionate அதிகரிக்கிறது, that is known as relatively elastic demand. So E is greater than 1. So far we discussed about perfectly in elastic demand, perfectly inelastic demand, அதுக்கப்புறம் relatively elastic demand. 3 topics we discussed. And moving to the relatively inelastic demand. So relatively inelastic demand is that is one when the percentage change produced in demand is less than the percentage change in price of the product. So for example, if the price of a product is increases by 30% and the demand for the product decreases only by 10%, not a major impact on the demand. So 10% வந்து increase ஆனாலும் demand வந்து அந்த அளவுக்கு வந்துட்டு decrease ஆகல. Just a minor difference will be there. So relatively inelastic demand. So it is denoted by E is less than 1. So relatively inelastic demand. So demand that same percentage தான் இங்க வந்துட்டு நம்ம எடுத்துக்கிறோம். So இதுக்கு முன்னாடி பார்த்த relatively elastic demandம் அதே மாதிரி தான். Price 10% fall ஆச்சுன்னா quantity demanded வந்து 20% வந்துட்டு ரைஸ் ஆகுற மாதிரி பார்த்தோம். அது relatively elastic demand. So relatively inelastic demandன்றது if price is raising by 30%, ரைஸ் ஆகுது 30%, if it is going to raise, demand வந்துட்டு 30% ஒன்னு fall ஆகல or 20% or a mild difference only is there. So it is decreasing only by 10%. So that is relatively inelastic demand. So relatively elastic demand, relatively inelastic demand. So moving to the next one, unitary elastic demand. This is very, very simple. So whatever that same percentage change, if it is happening means that is known as unitary elasticity, unit elasticity of demand. So it is E is equal to 1. Okay. So E is equal to 1 means price வந்து ஒரு 10% fall ஆகுதுன்னா demand 10% அதிகரிக்குது. Price 10% ஏறுது அப்படின்னா demand வந்து 10% இறங்குது. That same proportion, same change if it is happening between price and quantity demanded, then that is known as unitary elasticity of demand. So E is equal to 1. Whatever the price, small change means a small change will happen in the quantity demanded also, not much difference. Okay, so that is the price elasticity of demand. So price elasticity of demand, basically what is meant by that you must know. Okay, so price elasticity of demand is that you are going to keep the other factors as constant, and you are going to find out the relationship only between the price and quantity demanded. So what is happening for a small change in price? Either there is a big change in demand, or only a small change in demand, or equally it's going to have an impact on the demand. So just going to study the relationship, what is the changes between them. Okay, so change in demand due to a change in price. So that study that speaks about the price elasticity of demand. Under that we have the 5 topics. Perfectly elastic demand. Okay, so perfectly elastic demand is that ஒரு small priceல change ஏற்பட்டாலும் big major change வந்து quantity demandedல occur ஆகும். Okay, so it may ஒரு சின்ன ஒரு 10 ரூபாய் இருந்தது ஒரு 11 ரூபாய் ஆச்சுன்னா கூட அந்த பொருளோட விலை demand will get ரொம்ப reduce ஆயிடும். It will come to zero, and further rise it will go to the infinity stage. Okay, so that is perfectly elastic demand. So this is the chart for that. So perfectly inelastic demand is that, so whatever might be the change in price, அதனால எந்த மேஜர் இம்பாக்டும் டிமாண்ட்ல குவான்டிட்டி டிமாண்டட் will not take place அப்படின்றது வந்துட்டு perfectly inelastic demand. Okay, so no changes will be produced in quantity demanded because of small change in price or change in price. Okay, so it is represented by E is equal to 0. And next one is relatively elastic demand. Okay, so small change in price nala greater more than more than proportionate change, greater than the proportionate change will be happening in the quantity demanded. So that is the relatively elastic demand. 10% fall ஆச்சு பிரைஸ்னா 20% குவான்டிட்டி டிமாண்டட், இல்ல 10% ரைஸ் ஆச்சுன்னா பிரைஸ் 20% இல்ல 30% ஆக கூட குவான்டிட்டி டிமாண்டட் ஃபால் ஆகிறதுக்கு வாய்ப்பு இருக்குன்றது ரிலேட்டிவ்லி எலாஸ்டிக் டிமாண்ட். ஸோ இட் இஸ் ஈஸி கிரேட்டர் தேட் 1. And relatively inelastic demandன்றது, so it will not create a major impact, only a less proportionate change will be there in the quantity demanded. Price nala a less proportionate change, less percentage change only will happen in the quantity demanded. So price வந்துட்டு ரொம்ப அதிகமாக அதிகரிச்சாலும் 30% அதிகரிச்சாலும் the quantity demanded will come to only 10%, not 30% or 20%. Only a minute change will be there. So that is the relatively inelastic demand, and it is denoted by E is less than 1. And unitary means same proportionate change. 10% fall, 10% rise, or 10% rise is happening in price, 10% fall will happen in the quantity demanded. Same equal proportionate will happen under the unitary elasticity of demand, and it is denoted by E is equal to 1. So this is all about the price elasticity of demand. So under that you will be having the 5 subheadings. You have to explain each and one thing, and how it is denoted by, and graph for that. So second topic under elasticity of demand is the income elasticity of demand. Okay, so income elasticity, here again what is meant by income elasticity of demand means here you are going to keep all other factors as constant, all other factors will remain fixed, only income will be considered. Income ko quantity demanded ko enna changes ஏற்படுது. So what is the impact of that? Income rise ஆகும்போது quantity demanded rise ஆகுதா fall ஆகுதா, இல்ல வந்து income வந்து fall ஆகும்போது quantity demanded rise ஆகுதா fall ஆகுதா. So we are going to study only about the relationship between the quantity demanded due to a change in the income of the consumer. So that is known as income elasticity of demand. So a measure how demand for a product changes when people's income change. For certain products, if you see, if my income is 20,000 now, I'll be buying adiketa madri products monga. Certain brands I will be buying. Okay, so if my level has got changed to 1 lakh, if I am earning, no, then adiketa madri I will be moving to the branded products. Certain goods I will consider as inferior goods now. Okay, so I will move to the luxurious then. Okay, so if I'm earning some 30,000 like that, 10,000 mobile like that, I might go. So if I'm going to earn more than that, so I might try to have more than that costlier. Similarly, car or something also you can take as example. So before that, I would have had. Some other cars like Alto or something, one which is affordable by me. Some cars like that, Swift or something like that. So if my income is going to get changed because of that, I may move to some other brands also, BMW or something like that. Okay, so like this, due to the income change, what is the impact on the quantity demanded? I'm going to consume less, or I'm not going to go into demand in the market, or I will be demanding more in the market. So usually if you see luxurious products and all, if my income is rising, then I may demand more for luxurious, more comfort I want to be means I will be demanding the luxurious products. On the other way, I will start consuming less the inferior goods. Okay, so but certain products, essential items and all, it will remain the same. There will not be much impact. Anyhow, I have to spend for groceries or some other thing. Okay, that will not get much affected. The demand in the market will not get much affected. Food, everything I have to buy only food, medicines or whatever might be. But certain products, no, it will have a major impact on the quantity demanded. So that is the relationship between income of the consumer and the quantity demanded in income under income elasticity of demand. So what changes it creates due to a change in income of the consumer on the demand, quantity demanded. So it can be actually classified into positive elasticity of demand, negative elasticity of demand, and zero elasticity of demand. Okay, so if you see positive elasticity of demand, so usually positive means what? A rise and simultaneous rise. So that can be considered as positive elasticity of demand. Okay, so a rise in my income, so I'm consuming more of that luxurious products. Okay, so demands for that product will get raised. Okay, so I may go for restaurants, or my income demand for high-end restaurants or something like that. No, high-end durable products like that. It will be consumed by me more. Okay, so income is rising, and demand for that luxurious products will also rise simultaneously. Negative elasticity of income elasticity of demand, if you see, means if my income கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமா ஏற, whatever I bought earlier, no, I start consuming less, or even I don't consume, I don't want to have that such kind of product, my thought will go like that. So that is known as negative elasticity of demand. This particularly happen in the inferior goods. Okay, so inferior goods, giffen goods also we can name giffen, giffen. Okay, giffen goods. So give inferior goods. So certain products I don't want to buy anymore. Okay, so my income. As here also the example has been given, cheap cars. When my income rises, I stop buying cheap cars. Like that, some items will be there for our own. So why to buy that year after? We can go. Our income has got raised, so we can improve our standard of living now. So we can raise our standard of living by we can also own this one. We can also possess this one. Like this thought, people mind will come like that. Okay, so inferior goods I start to buy that. Stop to buy that product since my income has got raised. So whatever I bought earlier, no, I think that one is not required for me now, or that will not give me any more benefits like that. So I stop buying. So take for example, if I'm having air coolers at my home, so if my income has got, I may move to air conditioner also. I think air coolers are inferior now. So like that, like this in everyone's life will be we will be having certain things, right? So what I have considered earlier as good for me, now I would have considered as inferior due to a change in my income. Okay, so like this, many examples can be given. You can quote examples and you can highlight your examples and write. Okay, you can explain. So how it is considered as a inferior goods. Okay, so positive and negative elasticity, income elasticity of demand, zero elasticity of demand. So zero elasticity of demand means no, there whatever be the change in income also, there will not be much change in quantity demanded. So there will not be much change, or no change will be there in the quantity demanded. Income rise ஆனாலும் சரி, fall ஆனாலும் சரி, quantity demanded ல எந்த ஒரு change it will not take place. Yeah, I have to consume, no other go. So electricity, gas, some examples have been given. Whatever might be my lifestyle or something, certain products I have to buy, no other go for my survival. Okay, if I have to I cannot live without that. Okay, so it happens in our day-to-day life. Basic essentials, facilities, all those things I require. So whatever might be change in my income, what other people consume, I should also consume. I will also consume the same thing, whatever. So there will not be any impact or much impact on quantity demanded. Even though my income is rising also, quantity demanded will remain same. It will not create a major impact there. Okay, so that is the zero elasticity of demand. Okay, so income elasticity of demand, if they ask you, you have to give that thing. What is the formula for that income elasticity of demand? Like this, you can even give for the price elasticity of demand. So explanation of it, if you're using formulas like this, no, then you can get good marks. Okay, so even for price elasticity also, you can mention proportionate change in quantity purchased. Instead of purchased, you can use it as demanded. Okay, so here we are using demand only, no? So big, you can use demand itself, quantity demanded. Both are same only, quantity purchased or demanded, but you can use appropriate will be demanded. Okay, so economics book, all those things you will be having demanded only. So better to use demand. Okay, so proportionate change in quantity demanded divided by proportionate change in income. This is for income elasticity. இதுவே வந்து if you are having for price elasticity na, you can also use this formula. Instead of your income க்கு பதிலாக price ன்னு யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கோங்க. Price of the commodity. இங்க வந்து income of the consumer எடுத்துக்கிறோம். அதாவது என்ன இந்த ஃபார்முலா சொல்ல வருது, குவான்டிட்டி டிமாண்டட் ஓட சேஞ்சஸ் வந்து எந்த அளவுக்கு வந்து இன்கமோட சேஞ்சஸ்னால ஏற்படுது அப்படின்றத ரிஃப்ளெக்ட் பண்றதுதான் இந்த டாபிக், இன்கம் எலாஸ்டிசிட்டி ஆஃப் டிமாண்ட். ஸோ for price elasticity of demand, you can use as income க்கு பதிலாக you are going to take a price here on the denominator. Price of the commodity, price of the product, something you can take here price instead of that. Okay, so here no income elasticity of demand, obviously price remains constant. So price apati we are not going to consider here. Other factors you are not going to consider here, your taste, preference, many factors we have gone through yesterday's class. So every other factors you are going to keep it as constant. Price including everything you are going to keep as constant and consider only the income of the consumer and what is the reflect happening in the quantity demanded. So that's only you're going to study over here. Okay, so here some explanation is given when it will be greater, when it will be equal, when it will be zero, all those things has been given. So in okay, so these are the three types of income elasticity of demand: positive, negative, zero. So already this one also we discussed with the example. So positive elasticity of demand means if your income is going to rise, your products demand, whatever you are going to demand will also get raised. Okay, so luxurious products க்கு வந்து அதிக ப்ரையாரிட்டி கொடுக்க ஆரம்பிப்போம். இன்கம் ரைஸ் ஆகும்போது 20,000 ஏர்ன் பண்ணும்போது அதுக்கேற்ற ஃபெசிலிட்டி என்னோட வீட்லயோ எனக்கோ நான் வச்சிருப்பேன். ஸோ whenever my income is going to raise, அதுக்கேற்ற மாதிரி I am going to raise my products also. Whatever I am demanding previously, I will start consume more also that product. Okay, so that might happen. So income rise, proportionate rise will be there in the quantity demanded. Yeah, negative income elasticity, income if rising, if there will be fall in the quantity demanded, particularly for the inferior goods. Okay, so I will start consuming less, or at a certain point of time I will not demand in the market itself. So that is negative income elasticity. Zero means no change, whatever might be the change in income. So I have to buy that product, no other go. So for my survival essential, I have to live with that only. Necessities, basic necessities are required by all the people living in the society. There is no high or low or middle or nothing like that. Everyone we have to consume only. So such kind of product, no whatever be the change in income, no change in quantity demanded. Okay, so positive income elasticity of demand, again it has been split up into greater than unity, equal to unity, less than unity. So greater than unity na, so income raise ஆகும்போது, so income is raising to an extent means your quantity demanded is raising still more அப்படின்னா, then that is known as greater than unity. Okay, so 10% என்னோட income if it is going to get raised. Okay, so 10,000 if I'm earning, now I'm going to earn some 11,000 or like that. But 11,000 income வச்சுட்டு more demand, முன்னாடி ஒரு 15,000 units consume பண்ணியிருந்தேன்னா இப்போ ஒரு 20 or 25 more than that if I'm going to demand, then that is known as greater than unity. Equal to unity means same proportionate, whatever we discussed previously, unitary price elasticity la discuss பண்ணோம்ல. So same thing only. So whatever uh, proportionate change is happening in the income, same proportionate change if it is happening in the quantity demanded also, then it is equal to unity. That is EY. Y income elasticity ki EY nu we are representing. Price elasticity ki EP we were representing. Here EY we are representing. Okay, so equal to unity means equal to 1. Okay, so 10% rise in income, 10% only I will be demanding that product. I will not be demanding much more than that. Okay, so next is here income elasticity less than unity. Okay, so less than unity means 10% only, 10% my income would have raised now, but I may not demand that same 10%. I may demand only 5% or 2% only out of that. Okay, not much. Okay, so that is the less than unity. So greater than unity means 10% income raise ஆனா 10%க்கு நான் குவான்டிட்டி டிமாண்ட் பண்ண மாட்டேன். 10யும் தாண்டி 20% or 30% I will go more than that only. Equal to unity na 10% income rise ஆகுது. So I will be demanding only 10% of that product. Okay, quantity demanded. Less than unity means 10% rise ஆகுது, but 5% only I might demand. Okay, so only 5% I will be demanding in the market. Quantity demanded will get changed only to that extent. So that is the income elasticity less than unity. Okay, so positive income elasticity only you will be having these things, and negative income elasticity as I already explained to you. Okay, negative income elasticity usually it is applies for inferior, all your inferior goods only. Okay, so inferior goods பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் income rise ஆகும்போது demand வந்து அந்த inferior products க்கு less ஆகும் marketல. So that is inferior goods. Okay, so positive income elasticity it applies for the luxurious products. I'll start consuming more like that. Here I will start consuming less. Negative income elasticity, inferior goods. Zero elasticity, as we already know, there will not be any major impact of especially for your essential items, necessities, one which is basic for your living, for your survival. Okay, so this is all about the income elasticity of demand. Okay, so income elasticity of demand is all about. Okay, so next moving on to the cross elasticity of demand. So cross elasticity of demand means your price, income, nothing you're going to consider here. All the as usual, all the other factors are you're going to keep it as constant. Here two aspects we are bringing here. What are the two aspects? Is one is the complementary goods and the other one is substitute goods. Two things we are taking into consideration. So here you are not going to consider any other thing, income or any other factors you are not going to consider. ஒரு ப்ராடக்டோட பிரைஸ் சேஞ்ச்னால இன்னொரு ப்ராடக்டோட டிமாண்ட் என்ன சேஞ்சஸ் ஏற்படுது. So as we discussed already, substitute goods and complementary goods. So substitute goods ne அதுக்கு நிகரான goods. So that is known as substitute goods. அதே same taste, அதே specification, same features. With that itself, other product will be available in the market. So that is known as substitutes. Okay, so substitutes means same taste and taste it has got with. So same taste, அதே என்னோட same need வந்து if it is going to satisfy, then that is known as substitute products. Okay, so substitute goods no, always it has having the positive elasticity. Positive elasticity. Positive means what? One change rise agudana, other also will change rise. Price of this product, if it is going to raise, take for example tea and coffee or soda and soft drinks, like this same taste and வந்து என்ன satisfy பண்ற மாதிரி same இது இருக்கும். Still more some products anything like this same taste will be having illa same features will be having. One product illa one brand oda price வந்து if it is going to get raised na, அப்ப people வந்து who is having or consuming that product will switch over to the other related product. அதுக்கு related ஆன இன்னொரு product அதே taste இருக்கக்கூடிய அந்த productக்கு move ஆகுங்க. So அப்படி வந்து if they are going to shift means quantity demanded will get raised. So what is happening? Price of this product has got raised. Quantity demanded of the other product is going to get raised. So that is the substitute product. So cross elasticity of demand or formula and so this is actually delta. This is known as change in solo. So this represents change, delta. This symbol. Okay, so this is known as change. Okay, so percentage change in quantity demanded of goods B divided by percentage change in price of goods A. Yes. Yes. Okay, so quantity demanded of you are going to take only two products here. Other thing, everything you have to keep it as constant. Only two products you are going to consider. Okay, so two products oda effects enna, substitute goods ko complementary goods ko. So quantity demanded, how it is raising for the other product due to price change of for this because of this product. So tea oda price raise ஆகிறதுனால காஃபியோட குவாண்டிட்டி என்ன இம்பாக்ட் அதுல ஏற்படுது. Example like that. Okay, so like that you can have for any kind of products also. Okay, so similar taste and thing that suits me, that satisfies me, that can be taken as a substitute products also. Okay, so substitute products here also. So price of soda, if it is going to get raised means other drinks quantity will get raised. Okay, so I might start consuming more of Fanta, Pepsi, Coca, something other like that, or something 7-Up or something like that, which will satisfy me the same thing, same taste it has got with means I will move to that product and quantity demanded will get raised for that product. So that is substitute products have positive elasticity. அதனால தான் சொல்றோம் பாசிட்டிவ்னா என்ன, ஒன்னு ரைஸ் ஆனா அதர் ரைஸ். இங்க பிரைஸ் ஆஃப் ப்ராடக்ட் ஏ ரைஸ் ஆகுதுன்னா quantity demanded of product product B வந்து raise ஆகுது. So that is known as substitute products. Okay. And complementary products means negative elasticity of demand. So why negative elasticity? So complementary goods means இது இதை யூஸ் பண்ணா கண்டிப்பா அந்த ப்ராடக்ட்டும் நம்ம வாங்கி தான் ஆகணும், அந்த ப்ராடக்ட்டும் நம்ம யூஸ் பண்ணி தான் ஆகணும் அப்படின்ற ஒரு சுச்சுவேஷன் தான் காம்ப்ளிமெண்டரி குட்ஸ்ன்றது. ஷூ வாங்கினா எப்படி சாக்ஸ் யூஸ் பண்ணணும். ஓகே, ஸோ லைக் தட் சம்திங் இஸ் தேர். ஓகே, ஸோ வந்து அதுக்கேற்ற மாதிரி மொபைல் ஃபோன் வாங்குறோம்னா அதுக்கேற்ற நெட்வொர்க் சர்வீஸ் வி ரெக்வயர். ஸோ வி ஹாவ் டு recharge, we have to get the SIM card, all those things. So both are going hand in hand. Okay, so if you are going to use one product, no, automatically you have to use the other product also. So that such product is known as complementary products. So it has negative elasticity. Why it has got negative elasticity? What is meant by negative elasticity? If one is raising, no, other one is going to fall down. So அதான் வந்து negative elasticity means actually. Okay, so here negative elasticity, if you see price of here they have taken as price of gas is raising due to that quantity demanded for large SUVs car. Okay, so it is going to get decreased. So petrol diesel rise ஆகும்போது people வந்துட்டு buying automobiles, everything will come down. So day by day. So like it's an assumption. Okay, so like this negative elasticity, if one is one of the price is going to get raised means அதோட யூஸ் பண்ணக்கூடிய இன்னொரு ப்ராடக்டோட குவான்டிட்டி டிமாண்ட் இட்ஸ் கோயிங் டு ஃபால் டவுன். So there is here it is positively, if you see rising two products, two products are there, both are two different products. Okay, so rising, other one is also rising. But negative, if you see price is rising but quantity demanded is falling, so that's what complementary goods has negative elasticity, negative cross elasticity. So one product if it is going to rise means other product as demand will come down. Okay, so that is the complementary goods is all about. So cross elasticity of demand, you're going to keep the other factors as constant, other things remaining constant, and only you're going to consider here two products. What it has major impact between the price of one product and the demand for the other product. Okay, so it can be a substitute product or a complementary product. If it is a substitute product, it has positive elasticity. Okay, so both are raising simultaneously. Okay, and complementary goods, it has got a negative elasticity. The price of one will reduce the quantity demanded of the other. Okay, you can quote any examples that comes to your mind also. Okay, so these are the three types of elasticity. Okay, so cross elasticity, you can give the definition of that, can give the formula for that. Okay, so you can explain what is meant by a substitute goods, what is meant by complementary goods. You can quote the examples there, and you can say how it has got a changeover or how it is having an impact on the other product. அப்படின்றத you can mention on what way it is positive elasticity and negative elasticity. You can explain all these about. Okay, so that is known as cross elasticity of demand. Okay, so far we discussed about price elasticity, income elasticity, and then cross elasticity of demand. Apart from that, you are having advertising elasticity of demand. Okay, so this is not this is of minor importance only. So advertising elasticity of demand, if you see here, due to the change in your advertisement expenditure, what change it is creating in your demand for your product. So that speaks about the advertising elasticity of demand. So advertising elasticity of demand refers to the proportionate change in demand of a commodity due to a change in advertising expenditure. Previously, if I am running a firm, okay, so if I am doing a business product, so if I am going to spend a certain amount for towards advertisement, okay, so I would have set some budget for that, and I would have allocated certain amount towards that, and I am going to telecast either in TV or something, some other medium or something like that. So if I am going to further raise my advertising expenditure. I'm going to set a more for allocate more for my advertisements. Then what impact it has got in the quantity demanded. So sometimes no advertisements will be going every now and then. So demands குறிப்பாக for promotional activities, season times more advertisements will be there for a certain product or for certain shops, something like that. But during that peak season only, they will be telecasting more or spending more for budget. They will be allocating. So demands in order to raise the demand for that product or demand for that shop or some stores or something like that. Okay, so but after that or for when I have captured the market or something like that, then automatically I start to reduce my advertising expenditure. That time what the impact it has got in the demand. Okay, so studying about whatever the expenditure, advertising expenditure you are going to change, due to that, what is the change in your demand for the product. So advertising elasticity, proportionate change in quantity, demand of a commodity due to proportionate change in advertising expense. Advertising elasticity is a measure of an advertising campaign's effectiveness in generating sales. So ultimately, why we are they are doing that advertising everything. The main purpose is to uh, raise their demand in the market or raise their sales, all those things only they are doing it. So what is the impact of advertising expense? So certain times they would have done they would do more advertisement, they would allocate more expenditure on that. Certain times they try to reduce captured market. If it is standing in the minds of the public consumers, no, then then such kind of product they won't do advertisements every now and then. So hope you would have known all these things. Okay, so first initially they would do, but after capturing the minds of the public, they start to reduce that. Sometimes no, the advertisement you would have seen 10 minutes advertisement, like the seconds number of that seconds will be more. Then they try to reduce that. They will be giving shortly also. Okay, like this they might they stop that advertisement itself if it got the minds of the public, gone into the minds of the, like that. What advertisement expenditure you're going to spend, what changes is happening, you are going to allocate for your advertisements, what it has created a major impact or a less impact on the demand for the product, what change it has happened in the demand for the product. So that is about the advertising elasticity of demand. So we have discussed here price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, and then cross elasticity of demand. Apart from that, advertising elasticity of demand. So in this major types, if you see the first one only, price elasticity of demand. So many of the questions it will get repeated usually. So price elasticity of demand means you have to explain all these perfectly elastic, perfectly inelastic, relatively inelastic, unit, all those things you have to explain. Okay, so how it formulas you have to show. Okay, so all and graph you have to show. All those things are required. And income elasticity, again, what are its types? What is the formula for that? Okay, and then what are the types? You can quote the examples and write in order to make better understand. Okay, you can quote the examples and write. And apart from that, cross elasticity of demand, you have to mention what is meant by cross elasticity, what is the formula for that, and what is meant by substitute and complementary products, goods, how it has got positive and negative elasticity. With the help of the examples, you can highlight and write. Apart from that, the formulas are required, all those things, explanation is required. Apart from that, advertising elasticity of demand means what you have to give that. So in today's class, we discussed so far what is meant by demand already, that one we discussed. And then law of demand we were discussing about. Okay, so law of demand we discussed, meaning law of demand, what it states actually, demand schedule, demand curve, how the shift is happening in the demand curve, expansion of demand when it happens, and contraction of demand when it happens. You can show this graph table. Table represents demand schedule and graph represents the demand curve. Apart from that, elasticity of demand also we discussed, which is also